What did you talk about, Congressman, with President Trump earlier today at the White House?
Well, I was very honored. There were 11 of us that I put together a meeting of the first 11 of us that endorsed Donald J. Trump as candidate, myself being the first on February 24th. About a week ago, I was talking to the president, and he said, we should get our group back together, what we call the Trump caucus, the original caucus of the 11 individuals. We set it up at 10:30 this morning. We went to the White House, had a great one-hour meeting with the president. And the icing on the cake is when he said, now, you've been in the Oval Office before. And we said, no. Oh, come on into the Oval Office.
What did you talk about, though?
We talked about his accomplishments, promises made, promises kept. Talked about the repeal and replace of Obamacare, the importance of tax reform, infrastructure. We talked about our own districts.
Let's talk about infrastructure quickly. Tomorrow, President Trump is traveling to Charleston, South Carolina. He will be visiting a Boeing plant. You, sir, have been an advocate on manufacturing issues as well as involved with the reauthorization of the Export-Import Bank. Did you talk about what executive orders might be coming tomorrow, and are you anticipating any action on XM?
We didn't talk about any executive orders, but I did get a very positive feeling about XM. The topic was discussed, and I came away smiling that I think it's going to move in a good direction. I don't want to get into particulars, but I felt good as a big supporter, the #1 supporter of XM. After the meeting, I felt very good about it.
So this comes at a time, of course, when there is widespread criticism, Congressman, that this is a White House in chaos. You also have Republicans in the Senate who are questioning the relationships, not just Democrats, but also Republicans, sir, who are questioning the relationships of his administration's officials with Russia, his campaign's ties with Russia. Do you believe those allegations, and is it right for Republicans to be raising these concerns?
Let's start with the Russian allegations. No. #1, I don't believe any of them. #2, I would refer anyone and everyone to the president when he was a candidate, his personal financial disclosure form.
He never released his tax returns.
I'm not talking about tax returns. Those are ridiculous. His personal financial disclosure form, which lists every asset he has, every liability he has, all his income, whether it's capital gains, interest, or other income. So on that form, if there is no listing of assets in Russia, then there aren't any.
Would it be wise for him to release his tax returns to settle the issue about whether or not he has financial obligations or ties to Russia?
Well, here's the most ridiculous thing. It's not on the tax returns. It's on a personal financial disclosure form. That's where you list them all. They aren't on a tax return. So that's the craziness of everyone demanding the tax return. It's on the personal financial disclosure form, every piece of property, his position with them, any debts associated with them. He has filed his personal financial disclosure form. If there's no assets in Russia, there's no assets.
Many folks would argue that releasing additional disclosure would be able to provide more transparency about his financial dealings with Russia. I want to get back to this point of Republicans.
But that's just plain wrong. That's just plain wrong.
I want to get back to this point of Republicans in the Senate calling for more investigations into this White House. You have people like Senator Bob Corker, Republican from Tennessee, people like Senator John McCain, who are vehemently arguing that this White House take a tougher stance against Russia. Also, this Joint Intelligence Committee. What do you make of all of that Republicans, sir, are calling on this, not just Democrats?
I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed because Donald J. Trump was elected President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief. He makes the decision how he thinks it is best to deal with Russia, Iran, North Korea, NATO. It's his decision. He was elected president. So senators, congressmen should not be second-guessing the president. It is his decision with his advisors, working with the Secretary of Defense and others. So if he decides he wants to do this, that, or the other thing with Iran, North Korea, or Russia, that's his purview as the commander-in-chief. These senators need to go do their job and let the President of the United States do his job.
Does their criticism, in your opinion, hurt the Republican-controlled Congress's ability to pass an agenda on issues like tax reform, infrastructure, repealing parts of the Affordable Care Act? Does all of this noise hurt at all the Congress's ability to pass President Trump's agenda?
I don't think so. I'm on the Health Subcommittee, and I know we're moving to a markup week after next on the repeal and replace of Obamacare. I know Ways and Means is very far down the road on the fundamental tax reform. We just have to get repeal and replace done first, and then we'll move move to tax reform. We're all talking about infrastructure. They're actually separate issues, separate committees, moving that ball forward. The other conversations are just, in some cases, noise in the wind.